I'm Tim Kittro, and here to bring home the bacon are Big Ryan the Fat Guy.
Why'd they dangle it, though? 10,
What's up,
7.5?
YouTube? It's the NFL Picks Against the Spread for Week 10, 22-23 NFL season. Fat Guy 68, 64, and 4, good for 51.5%, which is just above whatever, minus 105, minus 106, right around there, which is the average that we have throughout this entire long process. Fat Guy, onto the Thursday night game. Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers +3 at home, 26% of early bettors, only 26 on the Carolina Panthers. Fat Guy, who you got?
Well, we're gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons here. It's hard laying 3 on the road with the Falcons, but you and I both think that they're a very well coached team. The Panthers making some changes as far as coaching. They fired 2 coaches after that route, but these are teams that shouldn't really, be competing, and they are. Like, if you look through it, and I don't like handicapping. Like, I think that's modeling is, unless you're an actuary and you have some sort of expertise in modeling, I don't think it's possible to build a winning model to beat the NFL markets. That being said, I think Atlanta has maybe the worst roster in the NFL, and they're still competitive. They have what's the point differential of the Falcons so far, Big Rye?
It's only a few. Like it's an average of -1. I think it's like -8 through the first 9 games or so. So it's they're very competitive for being you could argue bottom 5. You could argue
roster.
You could argue they're the worst
they're
roster.
They're the worst. I think it's just a really well coached team, and I was so disgusted, and I shouldn't even watch. I'm probably going to slow down at least at how bad the coaching pedigree is in collegiate and professional football. It's really bad. But Arthur Smith is a shining star for me. I think he's pretty good so far. I haven't seen any really dumb stuff in the limited sample. That being said, we're betting a number. We're not betting a team. The number is 3. Are they 3 points better than the Carolina Panthers? Possibly. Where do I think that number is going to head? I think it's more likely to go to 3.5 than 2.5. Let's ride with the Atlanta Falcons laying 3 points, which I don't think is too many. Let's just hope for a hook.
On to the Sunday early game, which I believe is in Germany. First game in Germany. Who cares? I don't know any of that stuff. Seattle at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -2.5. 37% of early bettors on the Bucks. Fat Guy, who you got?
We're gonna tentatively take the Bucks. I don't even like. This is a really interesting one from a analytics perspective. ESPN has Tampa Bay as an 83% favorite, which the money line is what, like -140. Big Rye, 83% would
right now.
83% would put them at what, -700.
Somewhere around there, and they're -137. So that's just very bad. On you said that was ESPN that's saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna credit them, but
that's terrible. You gotta
bad.
call them out on that. That's
I gotta
terrible.
call them out. It's bad, right? But my issue is this is another instance of poor modeling. And also too, there's an argument here. Like, the Bucks do have some strong statistical advantages, we'll call it, right? But then again, like, when you come down to, in soccer, they call it form. Like, Geno Smith is arguably playing much better than Tom Brady. It's weird to say
it's
that
factual.
out loud.
It's true. Like, it's not even
true, right?
It's not even like.
So when do you flip on preseason expectations and roster strength? Because when you look on paper, these two teams, Tampa Bay is so much better than Seattle. It's a joke. And then when you look at Seattle, they're just playing above expectation. Tampa Bay's playing worse. We're going to take Tampa Bay in this instance, but this is an interesting one because I think you could make a strong argument that Seattle should be 1-point favorites. So I think this settles on Tampa Bay -3. I'm going to hold my nose and take Tampa Bay. It's a total contest pick. I actually prefer watching Seattle. I can't stand Seattle's coaching style, but they do rev up the troops. You know what I mean? They win inefficiently, but they are winning, and good for them. It's kind of nice. I like the Geno Smith story, but I think this line is going to move to Bucks -3 more likely than not. So we're going to lay the 2.5 with Tampa Bay. and hold my nose contest pick.
On to the next game, which is going to be Jacksonville at Kansas City. Kansas City, 10-point favorites at home. 55% of early bettors are on the Chiefs. Fat Guy, who you got?
I think we're going to take Jacksonville here. Double-digit dog on the road. Not unreasonable. The Chiefs are just hard to... Like, they can cover any spread. I mean, they weren't able to do it on prime time, but I almost like the Jags, like the money line prospect more often. Like, just because that theory I've been spouting about particularly the Bills and the Chiefs, I think it rings true. Like, I think I'm getting the results to back it. Like, you know how the Bills, they lost to the Jets? I think they're more likely to cover the spread, but the Jets are more likely to get blown out, but the Jets have a higher win probability than the spread that matches. You know what I mean? Because they make the spread market and the money line market kind of move in linear fashion. They're not really decoupled yet. So what that suggests is that the distribution and the win probabilities are linear. And I don't think that's the case with Kansas City or Buffalo. They just chuck it too much. Like, it doesn't lend yourself to winning games in an efficient manner. Like, when you watched, really, really interesting was the way the Vikings closed out the game against Washington. Like that's how you close a game out. You're not trying to pound touchdowns in and leave time on the clock. That's not how this works. If you leave the clock at 0 and kick a field goal, that's way better than scoring a touchdown, leaving 2 minutes on the clock, and then potentially getting a touchdown and a 2-pointer, for instance, or a touchdown go to overtime. All of that's culminating in me usually taking the Chiefs or the Bills against the spread, but conversely liking the money line on the other team. So this is going to be a pure contest pick. Jags plus 10, but like Jags on the money line doesn't seem unreasonable to me is what I'm trying to say.
Plus 339 currently at the book that we like to reference the most. Next up, Houston Texans at the New York Giants. Giants 7-point favorites at home. Pretty much a 50-50 split here. Fat Guy, who you got?
Speaking of teams that I like, of teams that have strategies that lend itself to a particular style of betting, I'm going to take the Houston Texans. I like them in real life. 7 points. The Texans, they're not going to win. They don't play to win, but they play to lose respectably. That's another argument I had with someone explaining the concepts of efficient time management. It doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or 30. It shows up the same on the standings, and that's really what matters at the end of the day. That being said, Houston doesn't do that. Houston loses respectably. I think they lend themselves to covering a lot more than winning. And I like the Houston Texans. I like the 7 points. I think that's nice.
Interesting here. New York Giants points range 0 to 6 points plus 1550. That's a juicy number there.
That's interesting, Big Rye. Yeah.
On to the next game. Minnesota Vikings at the Buffalo Bills. Bills 6.5-point favorites at home. 36% of early bettors on the Bills. Fat Guy, of course, this line is kind of in limbo because there's uncertainty behind Josh Allen if he's going to be playing. So currently we're just going to go with this 6.5 line. That's what we see from previous amounts. But who you got considering this line?
Well, it's kind of botched from the news that you just divulged. So obviously you can in good conscience take Buffalo. Good conscience. Yeah. Ugh, I hate that word. I used to say conscience when I was when that Guilty Conscience song came out with Eminem or whatever. Can't stand him, but I did like that song when I was 11. That being said, we're gonna take Minnesota. We're gonna take the 6.5 points. It's a no-brainer if Josh Allen is injured, so, or at least like hampered. Does he have a niggling injury? You still want Vikings plus 6.5. I doubt that's what the line's gonna be when it closes.
Fat Guy. On to the next one. Detroit at Chicago. Chicago minus 2.5. 83% of early bettors are on the Bears, and despite me looking like I've got a toupee on, who you got?
You do look like you have a toupee. Really, really disgusting hairline from Big Rye. I'll be taking the Chicago Bears. I'll be laying the 2.5 points. I think I like this one in real life. I think there's going to be movement. I think the Bears have captured enough, we'll call it enough of the public's ire to also also help move some lines here and, create a situation where the line gets moved and they need some demand on the Lions. I like the Bears in this situation. I don't mind laying the 2.5 points. I think the Bears are a better coach team as well, just to put the little cherry on top. Not that I like handicapping. I think this line moves to 3 and possibly even 3.5 bad juice on the Bears. Bears minus 2.5.
Yeah, this game should be a 3-point game, so get it while you can. Next up, the New Orleans Saints at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers plus 2.5 at home. 42% of early bettors are on the Steelers. Fat Guy, I believe the Steelers have been losing, or their point differential average this year is minus 10. So they've been losing on average each game by 10 points. Who you got against the spread
the distribution doesn't work like that. We're just going to plug our nose and take New Orleans. This, New Orleans coaching job is unbelievable to me.
You were not a fan after this Monday night game.
It's like hitting yourself over the head with a hammer. It was really that bad. I don't understand how you don't start Taysom Hill if you're actually trying to win. The strategy with Andy Dalton is just the numbers look okay if you look at NEA, but as far as winning a game, it's miserable, especially coming from behind. And you would think he's a better passer, but I think you have a much better shot with Taysom Hill. I really, really, really do. So we're going to take New Orleans, and hopefully Dennis Allen tries to save his job and start an uncanny, unorthodox. That's the word I'm looking for. Unorthodox quarterback at Taysom Hill. But that's just my opinions. I'm not in the big seat. Millions of dollars aren't at stake for me. I don't even want to watch this game. Let's take New Orleans minus 2.5, and this is a big nose plugger.
Now, this is one of the last weeks that I'm going to be in a big seat. So next up, Cleveland Browns at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins minus 4 at home. 62% of early bettors on the Dolphins. Fat Guy, who you got?
I think this line's going to come down. I like Cleveland. I don't see why this isn't a bad juice 3 for Miami. I think this is too much. I have the hook. 4 is a push, whatever. I think Cleveland is the play here, and I think it's going to close better for Cleveland. I just find this interesting, too. I actually think Cleveland has a better roster, quarterback aside. I wonder, this would be a good one for the comment section. What do you think the line would be with a healthy Deshaun Watson? Is this a Miami -1 game? Is this a pick'em? Is this a Cleveland -1 game? Where does it shift? So all that being said, I think this market closes at Cleveland plus 3.5, bad juice on Cleveland. So I'm going to snap up an even money 4.
I think if Watson was coming back this week, I have a feeling the line would be 2.5. And if he was playing all year and we saw different Cleveland Browns, maybe record-wise, this game could be a pick-em all the way up to Cleveland minus 2.5, Cleveland minus 3. But who cares? All of this is boring. This is who gives a shit what we're saying about this stuff.
Oh, bad
Denver
words,
Broncos at the Tennessee Titans. I'll figure out the YouTube stuff. Don't you worry. Tennessee minus 3 at home. 79% of early bettors on the Titans. Fat Guy, who you got?
I think this is a good number for Denver. I'd love the hook, but I think that's being too greedy. I think this closes Tennessee minus 2.5. I have to give Mike Vrabel credit. How many completions did they have? 5? And they went to overtime against the Kansas City Chiefs. Come on. You got it, for how bad Dennis Allen coached this Monday Nighter, you have to give some credit to Mike Vrabel because, he's doing some very unpopular decisions and making them work for him. They didn't get the win, but wow. And then this is a massive coaching mismatch. I still think on the strength of rosters, I think this number could trend to 2.5. So I'm gonna snap up Denver plus 3. It's only a contest pick though. And congratulations to Mike Vrabel for being competent at his job, which is rare in this league, it feels like.
On to the next game, Fat Guy, which is the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, who are 6-point favorites at home. 77% of early bettors are on the Raiders, despite the Jeff Saturday addition as head coach to the Indianapolis Colts.
This one I find another bizarre. If you're Jeff Saturday, are you just going Gus Bradley, what do I do? or John Fox, because John Fox is just an assistant or a consultant. What do I do? Should I do that? He head coached a high school team. I don't know. He played how much does playing help you? I don't know. Like, it's a big, big, big undertaking. Between all the players and coaches, what is that managing? 80 people? It just seems a lot. It would come a lot's going over your head, you would think. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't make it John Fox or Gus Bradley. I would have done John Fox. It would make the most sense, but whatever. Are the Colts going to be prepared? And who are they going to start? Because that's another interesting. Spencer Ehringer or whatever, just completely abysmal. And
like you said earlier, the worst Matt Ryan that we've seen in the NFL.
The worst Rat Ryan. Ooh, that's an ugly moniker. And Frank Reich was adamant that he wasn't going to play again for the rest of the year. That promise can be broken. That coach is no longer with them. So I'm kind of curious. I think they're better off with Matt Ryan, which is really, really a testament to how bad the quarterback play has been in Indianapolis for quite some time. That being said, this is against a Raiders team who has blown 3 17-point leads, which is, I think, is an NFL record. Just some coaching ineptitude on monumental levels going on here. I like Frank Reich. I don't think that was the right decision, but time will tell. But let's get back to the game. Raiders 6 points. I don't like it. It's so ugly. I don't have a super good opinion. But if I'm going to lay a number, I'd rather lay 6 than 6.5 or 7. 5.5 would be good. I think it's more likely to shift to 6.5. Let's go Raiders. Pure contest pick. This is a stinker.
It feels like Jeff Saturday's just been hired because he's popular in Indy and he's going to fall on the sword. That's
terrible. It's so bad. Who's he? Jim Tom Sula?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, he wasn't living out of van. I'm pretty sure.
No. Yeah. Play that story again.
Yeah. Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. Packers 5-point dogs at home. 20% of early bettors are on Aaron Rodgers and the lowly Packers. They're on a huge losing streak, I believe, but who cares about any of that? Fat guy, who you got against the spread?
We're going to take 5, but 5 is really like taking 3.5 these days. Like 4 and 5 just don't matter. So this is one of those situations too. Like, you end up getting, if you reverse teased it down to like 3.5, like you'll save a couple cents. But I honestly think your equity's better realized if you just take the money line. I know it doesn't make sense because like if they lost by 3, you'd be like, oh, but that's just being results based. This is all gambling is math. Gambling is about getting good numbers. Okay, if you're gonna save 1% betting the money line as opposed to taking the spread, I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. You save that 1%, and people argue 1% means nothing. Well, think about your investments. People will quote you 10% a year, which would be a fantastic return, especially this year if you were able to pull it off, which is probably close to impossible. However, like, imagine an investment that matures 1% within a week. That's absolutely absurd, right? That's why gambling is a volume business. If you plan on doing this, for a living, NFL is a terrible, terrible market to do it in because the volume isn't there. Right? Like maybe in the prop markets and stuff, but then you have to beat really high juice, right? So whereas something like college basketball, you can bet 3,500 out of the 5,500 games, right? And if you had them all at 1%, that is a nice living. So we're really eking it out, like we really are. And these lines are pretty good. Like NFL has been figured out. The sport was just made for gambling. So that being said, I think it's better to realize the 5 points probably in a money line situation. But as far as the contest goes, we're just going to take Packers. We'll take the 5 points. And I guess the theme of the show is hold our nose. There's a lot of bad coaching in the league right now. A lot of bad coaching.
Fat guy, next up, the Arizona Cardinals travel to LA to take on the Rams, who are 3-point favorites at home. 58% of early bettors are on the Rams. Fat guy, who you got?
I think this closes as Rams -4.5. I like laying Rams 3. I'd be wagering pretty good money if it was Rams minus 2.5. I think there is a substantial gap, and I think the market realizes, and I don't think the market minds backing the Rams in this situation. It is a hold your nose one, though. I've been using this phrase I don't even like. All, all show, podcast, whatever you want to designate what we're doing here, but it's just been bad. Like, Cliff Kingsbury is horrible. This coaching this weekend has just soured me to a level I have to vent here to my audience. So thank you, viewers, for being the bartender or the psychologist without speaking back. Thank you for listening. So we're going to take the Rams. It's going to be a contest pick. Rams minus 3, but I am considering them, because the gap between 3 and 4.5, if it goes down to 2.5 and it's not close, I'm going to jump all over the Rams. Full disclosure.
Sunday Night Football, the LA Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers. This, to me, is a 5-star entertainment game. San Fran minus 6.5 at home. 58% of early bettors are on the Niners. Fat Guy, who you got Sunday night?
I can't believe I'm laying these points, but I am going to take the 49ers. Pure contest pick. But as Big Rye said, I really do want to watch this game. Like, I find when the San Francisco 49ers are playing well, they're probably my favorite team to watch, but they have a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of poor play. Like, there's a lot to be desired there too. But like, that's a team when things are moving well, it is enjoyable pleasing to the eye. Because one of my friends explained to me, because I never knew, why I don't really like Buffalo and Kansas City. And as I said, I call it the chuck it offense. He goes they have zero balance. And he's right, too. Whereas San Francisco, when they're really humming, I enjoy that balance. I really do. The Chargers can play like that as well. But I think in this sense, I think this is going to end up, I think there might be some closing line value, very light. It'll be San Fran minus 7. I think that could close there. I'm going to lay the 6.5 points. I'm going to take the 49ers. I don't love this one, though.
I'd pay a lot for a San Francisco Hummer. On to the next one. Washington football team Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles minus 10.5 at home. 23% of early bettors are on the Eagles. Fat Guy, who you got?
I like this one. I like this one in real life. I like the Commanders. I like plus 10.5. And part of that plays to the Eagles as well. Like I trash, for lack of a better term, I kind of speak poorly of Kansas City and Buffalo, their strategies. I like Philadelphia's strategy. They try and win. Like when they pulled off that sneak against Houston, they're trying to win the game. Like, that's the purpose of what they're doing. They're not just trying to get yards or rack up points needlessly when they're winning. They will take the time off the clock and try and win the game. But what does that lend itself to? Lend itself to winning a lot more than covering, right? So you can make an argument that, like, Philadelphia probably has more value in the money line. And what are they in the money line? Minus 410? That's my guess. I haven't looked. I have not looked. Big Rye's going to look it up for me. So that being said, like, I think the Commanders are a reasonable play at 10.5. Also, too, watching Heineke, when they're losing, he chucks it. Like, he actually takes the risk. I like that. That's when I'm losing, that's what I want. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think that the Commanders, that this game is more suited on a Commanders cover, Eagles win. So, you got the number for me, Big Rye?
They're minus 484. Eagles to win by 1-6, plus 370. I just realized that earlier when I said, I forget which team it was, the Giants. It was to score 0 to 6 points was plus 1550. I'm sure winning by 1-6 is not going to be as good. So, I screwed that up. Fat Guy was probably going to run to the altar and get married to that.
I wanted to hurry this up so I could bet it, and I was trying to bring it up on my other screen over here because I was going to bet like probably maximum. So because I was like 1550. And then, egg on my face, They win by 7. But that's life, right? That's life. That's I chose to do this as a vocation. There's some good years. There's some bad ones. And if you knew how close, some things are for me some weekends and some things go swimmingly. That's just how these things go. You look at the big picture, though. Definitely. This is a volume business. We're going to take this in real life. We're going to take it in the contest. Washington plus 10.5.
All right, Fat Guy. On to the lightning round. Atlanta at Carolina.
Falcons -3.
Seattle at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay -2.5.
Jags Chiefs.
Jags plus 10.
Texans Giants.
Covering Texans plus 7. I don't even know their ATS record.
Vikings Bills.
Vikings.
Lions Bears.
Bears 200 yards Fields.
Saints Steelers.
Aints 2.5.
Browns Dolphins.
Browns.
Broncos Titans.
Broncos.
Colts Raiders.
Raiders.
Cowboys Packers.
Packers.
Cards Rams.
Rams.
Chargers San Fran 5-star entertainment.
San Fran.
And then Washington at Philly.
Commanders.
Houston 4-3-1 against the spread on closing lines this year. Congratulations to the one and only Wook Dog for going 8-3-2. Good for 73%.
Thank you for participating every year.
ATS this week, and this week was a tough week. We don't have the 2 draws up there, but there's 2 draws this week. That's why it's not all adding up. But 8-3, there's a few people there 7-4, a couple people 6-5. It was a rough week in the contest for a lot of people. So congratulations, Wook Dog, for hitting 8 wins out of those 13. Well, really out of those 11 games. And then big ups to CEO Eric Hayden, who is 9 games above the rest, 82, 50, and 4, 62.1 against the spread. Fat Guy, you and I are still in the top 10 here. 68 wins in 132 games if you take away those 4 draws.
We'll be sure to make it not respectable by the end.
Yeah, exactly. On to the JS715 name of the week, honorable mentions.
Casino etiquette. I'll let you guys read through the lines. It's a total red herring. I'm currently on the Fat Guy diet. Chicken pot pie with a side of big rye. You know what's funny? I make chicken pot pie like once a month. I love it. You roast 2 chickens. You make stock out of the bones. You got your meat. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's time to put Bobby
double
Boucher
down.
for
Fat
some
Guy
of
makes
these
an excellent
QBs.
chicken pot pie.
I absolutely
We're just going to
do.
talk over each other the rest of the show if that's good.
Absolutely. It's a me, Mariota. There you go. My Taco Bell left me faster than Giselle left Tom Brady. It's probably true. When is the Fat Guy and Giselle's wedding? I don't know. Oh, Giselle. Oh, I'm marrying her. No, I'm a happily married man, sir, and I'm not dumping her, my lovely wife, for, Giselle. Gross. Kamara on camera, and General Booty for president.
This is the JS715 name of the week. Whoa, kaboom!
Striving to be Gordy Dodd. Look up Dodd's Furniture. It's local television commercials that are very poke fun at themselves, very funny. I love the Gordy Dodd commercials, and I think it's like the 40th anniversary too, so kind of culminates.
Yeah, good job, Gordy Dodd. Keep up the excellent work.
Furniture
Thank you to
sales.
our channel members. $5 a month. If you want to support us, please join as a member. There's also our Discord that you can chat with us if you have any questions about sports betting. Make your picks against the spread for Week 10 at BigRyanTheFatGuy.com. Fat Guy, that's it. That's Week 10 picks against the spread in the book. I know you were saying there wasn't a lot of meat on the bones for a lot of these games, but there was a couple that you didn't mind.
Chicago, Houston, Washington. If you could get I don't know I'm curious what's going to happen with the injury. I'm curious when the line's going to come out. You don't the sharper books tend to not gamble on injuries and they just leave it off the board. So you can, if you have early information, you can beat the square shops that offer worse juice. You just it's one of those games. I'm really poor at it, but injury updates, there is serious value in that, and I'm sure it would take some sort of social media mastery, but I think that's the best way for a regular person to get an advantage. So, someone who's not an expert in math is to be ahead of the curve on injuries. If you were ahead of the curve during COVID, you would have made a fortune sports betting, especially a game like NBA and stuff like that, where a singular player has more of a
more impact on the game.
More
on the spread,
impact
at
on the
least,
game. on the spread in particular. Yeah. So that being said, I guess that's the advice I would give anyone who's actually trying to make a go at this is become an injury expert. That's probably the easiest way. That's something, and I'm just lazy. That's why I'm not good at it.
Thank you guys for watching, and remember to make your picks in the contest, and good luck for your picks and your bets in real life.